What's up everyone, it's ENDYMION, and there's been an explosion of information circulating all over Twitter and other places when it comes to the sweet, stinky, putrid baby and their stain upon the masses of video games. I figured for now we'd be good, there couldn't possibly be more. But like Goku achieving new levels of Super Saiyan, this story keeps getting more powerful and insane as time goes on. Now it turns out we may have found a connection to Sweet Baby's inception. And it connects in a really bizarre way that you need to see in order to believe. Beyond this, the founder of the baby has been found to call white male players as picky babies. And Suicide Squad, which has obviously failed and imploded in front of Warner Bros. Discovery's eyes, has decided that not only are players wrong, but Suicide Squad is Warner's future. It's a lot, so let's keep this simple to begin with, those weird connections and how this may have all started. So far, what we know for sure is that Sweet Baby Inc. was founded in 2018 by Kim Belair, and it's a consulting company that was created to boost marginalized voices within video games through narrative, script dialogue, quest design, and much more. Sometimes it's more of a subtle endeavor, and sometimes it sticks out like a sore thumb. Like having a black girl in God of War Ragnarok who's apparently from a race of giants, that originates from Norse mythology within a very white part of the world. As in every single Norse villain within Ragnarok is white, every citizen is white, and even Atreus, whose mother is a giant, is also white. But randomly, for no reason at all, there just happens to be a black girl in this same giant race. Of course it was done for representational purposes and likely was pushed by Sweet Baby from the get-go in order to ensure there was some diversity in the game. But we all know that if God of War was, for example in the future, having a game based on African mythology, that they would absolutely not make any of that mythology or its characters randomly into a white person, because that would be culturally tone-deaf and racist to do so. But it's totally fine if it's done within a Norse mythological setting, just ignore the fact that Norse mythology is intrinsically connected to Norwegian people, who are predominantly blue-eyed and blonde-haired. Don't use logic or reasoning to understand this, just shut your mouth and consume product like a good consumer instead. Because that's what these consulting groups want us all to do anyway. Sweet Baby has obviously left their stink all over the gaming industry already, but now it gets way weirder than before. Ever wonder how a company like Sweet Baby even comes to exist in the first place? And who else is a part of this company? How do these things even come to be? Well, let's take a journey together, friends, and let's go learn how the sausage gets made, shall we? So since this huge story has been blowing up, people have been digging all over, and one of the discoveries is another company with an equally weird name in the form of Baby Ghosts. According to its website, Baby Ghosts is a grant and peer accelerator company that helps marginalized individuals create their studios into a reality. They further explain what they do in their own words here, which says, Baby Ghosts and Gamma Space Collaborative Studio have teamed up to offer a grant of $25,000 in a two-part 6-month program of tailored mentorship with a community of game-making peers. We offer the space and the tools to develop a studio that doesn't need to adhere to inequitable systematic norms. Sounds nice and simple enough so far, right? What other services do they give, you may be asking? Well, according to them, they offer things like helping you with team development, project management, publicity, and professional connections. That last one, by the way, is very, very important. And as they say, the more they engage with you, the more they can support you. But what this really means is the more they get to know you as a game developer, and if you have the right credentials, as in you're a person of color, you identify yourself using other buzz terms like maybe disabled or they/them pronouns and so on. Then this Baby Ghost consulting team will then learn, oh, you're one of the good ones, a sweet baby if you will. And then they'll use their connections to get other like-minded individuals to help and maybe even work with you on your game who also identify with similar buzz term words as well. And if you want that $25,000 grant to help you achieve your dreams, you kind of have to also be able to identify within these other labels as well. Firstly, you have to be Canadian, so sorry Americans, but it's that second point which says, you are a member of an unrepresented group in the video game industry. So, if you're a white hetero male, sorry, you are not eligible for this grant. What's that? You were born a white male against your own will? Have you ever considered that maybe your parents are racist for simply existing? Well, too bad, white hetero male game developer, be gone with you. Your kind isn't allowed here in these parts, but if you're a person of color or pander in any way, shape, or form, well, congratulations, you just got accepted into the Baby Ghost program. But then it gets weirder because it turns out that Baby Ghost is actually funded by another company which is called Weird Ghosts. A lot of bizarre names for these companies, I know. So, what's Weird Ghosts, you may be asking? Well, according to their website, Weird Ghosts is an impact fund for studios led by underrepresented founders across Canada. We support video game studios with studio development training, catalytic investments, and community in order to build strong, impactful teams of underrepresented makers who are shaping the future of video games. So Weird Ghost is a bigger company that through other shell companies like Baby Ghosts use their influence to help what they call underrepresented groups begin working in video games. The site even says in their own words that Weird Ghosts invests in founders who want to build profitable, impact-oriented studios with a long-term vision and commitment to equitable, worker-centric structures. There's that keyword there, by the way, impact. They want whatever it is you're making to change how things are done. That's the key initiative here and what I want you to zero in as we go along. So it's not enough that you're from an underrepresented group or that you go by whatever pronouns that you do, but you also need to be politically and socially aligned with these ghost companies in order to receive your grant. Then you are overseen by these groups to ensure that what you're making is pushing what they want to see. Okay, very cool. So then you're probably asking, who the hell is controlling these companies then? Who are the people behind this? Well, one of them is this person named Jenny Robinson Faber, who according to their bio on the Weird Ghost website says, Jenny, she is a queer white settler community arts advocate and organizer, software developer, and leader in the IDM industry for over 15 years. She co-founded the video games arts nonprofits DMG Toronto with Cecily Carvey and Alex Litch, and Gamma Space Collaborative Studio with Henry Faber and Dan Toliver. In 2015, she joined the board of the Toronto Media Arts Centre and became its operations director in 2017. Yeah, you read that right, fellas. They unironically refer to themselves as white settlers in their public professional biography. You can smell the white liberal woman guilt from here, but surely that is a one and done expression, right? Well, who's the other founder? Well, this is where things get really interesting. Their name is Eileen Mary Holoka, who according to their bio, Eileen, she is a queer and disabled white settler living on Treaty 1 territory in Winnipeg. They are a writer, game dev, and community organizer advocate with a background in theater, games, poetry, and health communications. They have a PhD in communication studies from Concordia University and have published extensively within and outside of academia. They are a co-founder of both Weird Ghosts and Baby Ghosts with Jenny Robinson Faber, as well as a member of Gamma Space Collaborative Studio. They have also worked as the general manager of Infinite Ammo. Oh, so the white settler bio description isn't just a one and done sort of thing. You could almost say that it's a mandatory identification term that's designed to easily triangulate and point out who the white people are amidst the crowd here, which is just wow, dude, wow. The inner hatred of white liberal women is truly one of the greatest jokes of the modern era. These are the sort of people who likely think it's great that people burn down cities in protest. They're likely also the same kinds of people who would get mugged in broad daylight and refuse to give a description of the person in fear of being racist. Also, find it very interesting that Weird and Baby Ghosts both work to prop up marginalized voices within the gaming industry and refuse to work with white people in general. Yet, unironically, these companies are controlled and created by two white people themselves. It's like the ultimate white savior complex of a company come to life. It's truly incredible how much these people hate something that they can't change about themselves. Imagine referring to yourself as a white settler, dude. Holy crap, you can't make this stuff up. It's because of people like this that we're in this mess to begin with, but I don't know if you caught what was said there, so let's circle back for a second. What was the name of that second founder? Eileen Holoka. Holoka. Where have we heard that name before? Also, Eileen is in control of another company called Infinite Ammo. What the hell is that? Well, if you go look that up, it turns out Infinite Ammo was started by a man named Alec Holoka. And if you look deeper, you then realize that the man who started Infinite Ammo is actually the same Alec Holoka who ended their life after Zoe Quinn accused them of abuse without any proof. The same Alec Holoka who ended himself after websites like Polygon and others blasted and ruined his reputation and name because of the whole believe all women narrative. And then, once he died, his company, Infinite Ammo, was absorbed by his sister Eileen, and using all of these connections was able to create Weird and Baby Ghosts. So the man who died because of the baseless accusations of Zoe Quinn, who is pretty much the progenitor of Gamergate, is having his legacy used to fund and create startup companies that politically and commercially erase people like him from the industry, all in the name of virtue signaling. This is some Jack Reacher level connections we're talking here. I feel like I'm going to be sniped through my window by a they-them assassin just for talking about this stuff. But there it is, fellas, right in front of you. The progenitors of Sweet Baby and the transformation of the video games industry is intrinsically tied directly to the very same man whose death was caused by Gamergate itself. Then Sile, who also does YouTube, ended up posting some screenshots on Twitter, so let's go look at those now. And if you look here, well, look who it is. It's Chris Kendrick who said, "So glad to be a part of this cohort. That's right, the narrative designer at Sweet Baby is tied to Weird Ghosts as well. And oh look, it's even the same Baby Ghost icon there in the same infographic where Weird Ghost celebrates the 7 studios they helped launch. And one of them is there as plain as day, Sweet Baby Inc." Then Weird Ghost was found saying in public that their mission is to remake the industry. And there's another image where Infinite Ammo, which is again created by the now deceased Alec Holoka, is the minority investor in startups like Weird and Baby Ghost, which is now, as you know, the reason why Sweet Baby Inc. exists to begin with. So they're not only politically aligned, they are quite literally, down to their DNA, the same thing. Sweet Baby Inc., Weird Ghost, Baby Ghost, Infinite Ammo, Gamergate, Alec Holoka, Eileen Holoka, Zoe Quinn, all of it. It's all done and made by the same group of people. Are you convinced yet that video games as a medium have been infiltrated by activists? Or do you need more proof? Well, let's go to the Game Developers Conference where Kim Belair, the founder of Sweet Baby, who might I add, fits the bill to a T in terms of what Weird Ghost looks for in someone they invest in, was talking on stage about how her vision for her company works to change the game industry as Weird Ghost puts it. So, this clip is from her GDC talk a few years ago around the time when Sweet Baby was first founded. It's a little bit of a longer clip, however, it's worth watching for context, so let's sit down, get comfortable, and peer into what Sweet Baby aims to do, shall we?
And so I want to put on that very mercenary hat for a second and talk about the way that we decide how we're going to sell the art that we make and how we're going to approach the audiences that we make it for. Because I think so often when people like us get told, from higher ups or from society at large, this isn't what players want, it's not a conversation about content, it's a conversation about demographics. And I think that in our industry and in so many creative industries, if you want to look at film and television and any art form, we start treating our core demographics as a fixed and static value, something that does not want to change and something that is locked in place. So despite the changing face of audiences, despite the changing face of conferences like this one, we still look at our core demographics and say, okay, they're white, cis, hetero males. And we cater almost exclusively to them. And the problem is that we don't just cater to them here's something that we think you'll enjoy. We cater to them the way that we cater to a picky baby. We feed them the same thing that we know that they love, and we keep on feeding it. We're like, here you go, you love it, eat this, eat this, eat this. So that then when they get anything else, they react as a picky baby would, which is be like, oh no, thank you, I do not want this. And we've actually done this so long that what we're doing is creating an entire nation of picky babies, and they make us scared to deviate from what we actually want to do, just in case these picky babies don't want to play our games. And we've made a lot of progress. Obviously, I don't say this to completely go just give up. We've screwed it. So I want to do better than this, because, and I don't say that to be like, oh, you know what, I'm going to dismiss all the hate and the abuse in our communities. But I do like to imagine that when we look at white guys, and there's several of you here, I think that when we look at you, we say, okay, you can't possibly enjoy this. But I think they want also, and maybe you want also, to experience new and different stories. I think we need to step out of this rule that like white men can enjoy fantasy worlds, aliens, sci-fi, monsters, anything, so long as it's through a lens that looks exactly like them. Because if that's the kind of person that we're always going to cater to, you're never going to innovate. You're never going to change things. You're just going to keep feeding the picky baby. And we cannot continue to try to create art under a system that is going to bar innovation for fear of a picky baby throwing a tantrum. Hey, maybe we can invite white dudes to play as other people and experience different things through someone else's eyes. And if they don't like it, we have to start thinking we're not losing, they're losing, and we're losing because we're gonna let them stand in the way of our progress and our innovation. And I think that we need to stop thinking that our core marketing demographics have to define the exact demographics of our playable characters and of our cast. And instead, we start to have to assume that players do want new stories, and that if we bring joy to our broad audience, it's going to encompass our core audience as well. Like, representation is this abstract idea. We're seeing it as this weird kind of thing that we can paint over what we're currently doing. But if we start having these conversations as facets of narrative, as facets of marketing, as gameplay, as art, I think that we're actually going to be able to move beyond it, because when we sequester advocacy into this one series, what we risk is like preaching to the choir, and while you guys already know this because you're here, what's old to us can be innovative to somebody else.
So the goal, as you can see, is to reshape the industry to fit their new world image. They view white male players as the devil and want nothing more than to change the landscape to excommunicate and remove them from the industry, as well as when it comes to representation. And it's very bizarre that of all the ways she uses to explain what she hates, she uses the term picky babies. This entire group is creepy with their wording. Weird ghost, baby ghost, sweet baby, picky baby, even some of the other companies they started up, like there's Ghoul School as well, just very similar terminology being used here. But honestly, it's very fitting as well, because up until recently, for many of you, these people were exactly that. They were ghosts. You couldn't see them, you couldn't explain exactly what was wrong, but you could definitely feel as if there was a presence lingering around you. Something was wrong with the games you were playing. You couldn't necessarily put your finger on it, but you knew in your soul that there was something at work that you couldn't see that was contorting and transforming the very fabric of this medium that you love so much. But if these weirdos are ghosts, then fellas, we've all become Ghostbusters overnight. And it's up to us to find and locate these spectral weirdos wherever we can find them and rid this industry of this rot. But it seems that the rot has already taken hold, and I remember Chris Kindred, who is that narrative designer who openly promotes that they're attached to weird ghosts and all of that, is the very same individual who originally attempted to get the user who made the Steam Curator tool banned off of Steam to begin with. So a progenitor of Sweet Baby and Weird Ghosts attempted to strong-arm Steam into banning someone they didn't agree with because they exposed them for who they really are. Isn't that just fascinating? But there's something that's been bothering me ever since this all began, which is this one tweet by another person who works at Sweet Baby. I've covered them before, their username on Twitter is LegoButts. Anyway, they said this and people seem to have glossed over it. LegoButts said this in regard to the Steam tool and how it collects information. Which, listen, I'm not sure who uses curator lists. My guess is it's people who would never ever buy the games any of us work on, except they do and don't list those particular games here. But there's just nothing preventing this, even though it's clearly not what curators are for. Except they do and don't list those particular games here. Huh. So it's very likely that there are still many games out there right now being sold and played that have been involved with Sweet Baby, ghosts, and whatnot and are not publicly displaying their names or involvement. So, like the ghosts they are, they're still corrupting things without players even knowing to begin with. Now, what could those games be? Sadly, I don't know, yet anyway as of the making of this video. But it would be a shame if someone watching this was to run names like Eileen Haloka, Kim Belair, or Chris Kindred through the credits of recent releases to see if their names pop up anywhere. It's just a thought, of course, but who knows, maybe something could pop up. But it's become very clear that this make-believe agenda that people like Kindred, Lego, and others swear doesn't exist seems to be a very real thing that absolutely does. And of course, another tweet I've seen circulating is this one showing other companies that are also directly tied to Sweet Baby and Weird Ghost as well. It's gonna take time to sift through all of these, but there's some very eyebrow-raising names on that list. Black Girl Gamers, yeah, those are the same people who were contracted by Square Enix when they worked on Forspoken. Gamer X is a big one too, I'll have to look into that one in a future video, and then there's Anita Sarkeesian when her name keeps popping up too. And look at that, Infinite Ammo, Weird Ghost, and GameSpace, all of these are controlled by Eileen Holoka and Faber as well. There's another name on that list as well, Cozy Comet Games. Where have we seen that before? Oh yeah, they were on the infographic when Weird Ghost was celebrating all the startup companies they helped fund, and there it is, right there. Cozy Comet Games, as plain as day, so that's another company created by the Sweet Baby. So how deep does this rabbit hole go? But this is very interesting, my friends, very interesting indeed. At least it's good that I can say that we're not crazy at all, and actually we were right all along instead. I've had plenty of Reddit threads saying I'm a conspiracy theorist, that I'm this hate-mongering person, but it's very nice indeed to know that I've been right all along. And they can gaslight me, Yellow Flash, and many others all they want, but the truth is that we were right. We aren't crazy, and we aren't lying. And in actuality, it's these groups instead that are the ones who are lying, and they can try to smear our names, but the devil is bathing in the sunlight, my friends. And it's safe to say that they can't hide anymore, because while the devil does try to convince the world it doesn't exist, it looks like the public isn't believing their lies anymore. Finally, I just want to quickly go over the Warner Bros. Thing, but apparently after Suicide Squad blew up and died, Warner has decided it's going to double down on live service elements instead of rejecting them, and believes their future is not one-and-done games like Hogwarts Legacy, which mind you sold over 22 million copies and was the best-selling game of 2023. But never mind that, Warner thinks that is not the way to go, even though its success proves that that's what people want. Instead, we need more Suicide Squads because that's the future apparently, especially considering how bad it did and nobody wanted it. These people are idiots, dude. But what it means to me more than anything is that Warner Bros. Would rather double down on a failed product spearheaded by Sweet Baby than create a profitable product like Hogwarts Legacy, which to our knowledge anyway was not touched by the baby. But maybe it was, and Lego Butts outed that to a degree, we don't know yet. I can't wait till the internet discovers more, but it's proving that time and again, as much as they tell us we're crazy and wrong, we keep being proven right. The baby is exposed, the ghosts are no longer invisible, and they're afraid, fellas. And I know I say this a lot, but it's true, and that is that we are absolutely winning. So thank you for watching, subscribe for more in the future, and share the video if you enjoyed it. Thank you for being here, keep asking questions, thanks to my patrons, and have a wonderful day. Enjoy some video games today, that's my one and only demand of you. Go play something and have fun, you earned it. I'll see you in the next one.